Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm going to be talking about Cuomo's speech today to New York and the world at large, I guess. He had a special guest, and that was Bloomberg. All right? Michael Bloomberg. And we know that they're going to be doing tracing in terms of new infections after we get out of shelter in place. So, what is Bloomberg going to do? Bloomberg is going to fund the operation. Vital Strategies, Bloomberg Philanthropy, and Johns Hopkins are all working together to build a surveillance system for individuals that contract COVID-19 going forward and are training individuals for contact tracing. So this is the surveillance, the beginning of the surveillance before they roll out the forced vaccines. So I'm going to play Governor Cuomo's speech while Bloomberg calls in. Okay? So it's very important. It's very important to listen, and then I'll comment. But they're telling you exactly what they're doing, and it shows that those steps for surveillance. Okay?
This great state through this crisis, and to deliver facts and data to the public, and also a sense of hope, which really is important. I know your daily press conferences have become must-see TV for a lot of people. And for the record, I thought your advice to fathers on what to say about a daughter's boyfriend was exactly right the other day. Anyways, the question on everybody's mind continues to be, how can we begin to loosen these restrictions and begin reopening the economy? And one of the most important steps we have to take to reopen the economy as safely as possible is to create a system of contact tracing, as you just outlined. When social distancing is relaxed, contact tracing is our best hope for isolating the virus when it appears and keeping it isolated. The governor has recognized that, and
so he's making the statement that the way to control the disease going forward after we get out of shelter in place around the country is that if someone gets sick, they are going to be tested. If it's confirmed, then they're going to say, who have you been with? And they're going to round up everybody that you've been with, and they're going to go into quarantine. All right? And they're going to be put into a database. But it gets better.
Since Bloomberg Philanthropies has deep experience and expertise in public health, we're glad to support the state in developing and implementing a contact tracing program. As Andrew said, the contact tracing is a way to identify people who may have been exposed to the virus but don't know it. And doing that requires a lot of well-trained people who are coordinated and managed effectively. It is a very big
This is what happens if they don't like you? All right? And they just say, you're sick. And we don't like the people you associate with. And you happen to be with those people, and therefore we're going to round them up. I find this against our civil liberties of being able to assemble peacefully. But he keeps on Freudian slipping, saying contract tracing instead of contact tracing, which I find odd. But, that's Michael Bloomberg.
Undertaking just because of the scale. So we've enlisted the best public health school in the world at Johns Hopkins University. No offense, but it's named the Bloomberg School of Public Health.
Now, Johns Hopkins Public School of Health isn't the best. It's really T.H. Chan School of Public Health at Harvard. So he should get that right. But let's continue.
Which our foundation works very closely with on public health and other issues. And we've also teamed up with the nonprofit organizations Vital Strategies and Resolve to Save Lives. To get the contact tracing program up and running a lot has to happen first, and hiring, training, deploying, and managing a small army of New Yorkers,
notice how you said
the governor
small
said,
army?
is really the great challenge. To help the state recruit contact tracers, we brought in a staffing organization. And we're also teamed up with CUNY and SUNY, both of which will help identify potential job applicants. And I want to thank both of them for their work in joining us. To help the state with training,
How's that any different than the Gestapo that was going on during World War II, or with the brown shirts?
Hopkins has developed a training class which can be taken remotely. It will cover all the basic information of epidemics, contact tracing, and privacy. There's also a test at the end of the training, which you have to pass in order to be hired. So we're not going to put out people there that don't know what they're doing. We'll
only put people that believe in the agenda.
So put technology to use in other ways. Vital Strategies is developing 3 new smartphone apps. The first will help contact tracers find information and data quickly. The second will help the public provide information to health departments. And the third will allow those.
The second app has patients providing information to healthcare workers. All right? That's telemetry. All right? These 3 apps are one to get information that, for someone like, the internet, so to get information about the disease and how to, what are the symptoms and stuff like that. Some links to maybe some governmental agencies, all right, which you can get on the internet, all right? But the key is the app for tracking, all right? That's what this is. It's a tracking mechanism. I've been saying this from day one. They're going to do the tracking, the beta test for the tracking, and it's going to be enough. The best place to test it is in a high-density area that has a lot of cases. That's New York. And then they'll roll out an ID 2020. So it's not just Bill Gates. It's this fucking asshole called Bloomberg.
In quarantine to access the guidance and services they need, including the ability to report any symptoms they may be experiencing. Vital Strategies is also working directly with the state to develop protocols and workflow materials for contract tracers and managers. That includes a comprehensive playbook that will detail the steps needed to do contact tracing effectively.
They're going to round up anyone that you have been in contact with, your family, workers, friends, and they'll round you up for 14 days. But he doesn't say when they round you up and you can't go to work, is Mayor Bloomberg, the billionaire, going to pay for your bills? Of course not. Of course not. Just like how Obama was able to go on a golf course and fucking play golf the other day. Fucking asshole.
I want to make it clear. We will release that playbook publicly so cities and states around the country can use it, and so can nations around the world. That way, the work we do here in New York really can help fight the virus globally.
You know what virus they're fighting? It's freedom. They're trying to fight our freedoms. And it's time to start slapping this fucking asshole.
We'll also bring in a group of outside experts to conduct an evaluation of the program so that other states and countries can see what worked well and identify areas they can improve on. And we'll learn as we go and make adjustments and share what we've learned. Sharing and spreading best practices is something that Bloomberg Philanthropies works on with cities around the world. In about an hour, I'll be getting on a call with mayors around the country, which is a call we hold every week. It's been a good way to share information and strategies. And I know
I'm telling you, they are moving towards a tracking system. Right when we do get out of shelter in place, they are going to start tracking. And they know that there's high probability of reinfection, which leads them to be able to corral us and then force this concept of vaccines, of forced vaccination. It's getting to the point where we have to have Occupy America. Not Occupy Wall Street, not Occupy Monsanto's. This is to get back our country. This is our Tea Party moment. We cannot let Bloomberg, Vital Strategies, Johns Hopkins, and the governors or the governors of the different states erode our civil liberties. The time is now to start revolting and going out in the streets and start occupying, just like what happened right after Lehman. If you care about your country, if you care about your children, if you don't want to be forced vaccinated without your consent, then you better go out there and fight for your freedoms. The time is now.
All of the mayors are following the news of the contract tracing program that we are starting here, and that other states have also begun the process of starting. Now, before I turn it back over to the governor, let me just echo something that he has said repeatedly and that really is important to remember. As tough as these times are, we are New Yorkers, and we've been through a lot together, and we're going to get through this together again. So, Governor, back to you, and thank you for everything you're doing.
So, as you could fully appreciate, he is the beginnings of the tracking technology. And they're going to realize that there's so many people that they have to track when it comes to across the nation that it's going to be pushed in a Biopatriot Act for a chipping or for some sort of digital print that proves that you've been vaccinated or have an antibody. This is the beginnings of it. Now, Bloomberg's Jewish, just like me. And every Jew understands the rounding up the Jews in Germany, the tattooing of us going into the death camps. And he, with the blessing that he was given with all this wealth, that he's going to use to start tattooing American citizens? That fucking asshole! Now, Bloomberg, in this picture, and go to the web, go to the internet, and you can just look up Cuomo's updates on New York coronavirus response, which was streamed today 6 hours ago. Bloomberg, he's sitting in his chair like he's fucking Captain Kirk, and he's in his holodeck with a bunch of books that he probably didn't read, but he's got a bunch of Talmuds in the back. You know what those Talmuds say? Don't do harm. Every Jew out there, it is your obligation to make sure that another Holocaust never fucking happens. And that is why I am so fucking adamant about this. We are not going to be tagged. So I'm reaching out to all of my fellow citizens in America. If you care about your family and you don't want to be force vaccinated, you better start Operation America. And go to your town halls. Go to your clubs. Go out in public and start saying, we are not going down this road of forced vaccination. And we're not going to be tagged. We're not going to have ID 2020. It's not going to happen. We can't let this happen to us. But you just heard this. That's what's happening. It's time to take our country back.